So I see a good amount of people have joined. What I will do is I'll launch a poll so that we can understand the pulse of the crowd, and then we can customize the webinar according to the audience that we have. So the first question is about a little bit about who do you identify with most? So are you a first, second, third year student in your college? Are you a final year student? If you're a working professional, if you're a working professional with more than 2 years of experience. So just, yeah, okay. We're already on it. We have received a nice like 30 replies. Okay. Keep going. Yeah, we have around 10 replies left. So just choose the one that you identify with the most. Okay. 7 more people. Just reply to this so that I can understand the pulse of the crowd that we have, and we will try to modify the webinar, customize a little bit according to what you are looking for today. Okay, I'll be closing this poll in another 10 seconds. So in case you have to respond, please respond. Great. I'll just share the results with you all. So as you can see, we have a good mix of crowd today. 36% people are studying in their sophomore year or later. 32% are final year students. So great, you are already being prepared for this degree because it's an early career program we're talking about. 25% of people have less than 2 years of full-time experience. So that's actually the eligibility criteria for the MIM programs, most of them. And 7% are people with more than 2 years of experience. So definitely we can look into your profiles more in a detailed manner one-on-one after this call. So thanks for answering to this poll. I just have one more poll before we start, and then we'll have more polls during the session so that we keep getting answers and you also understand what your peers are doing, because I think that's very important. So this poll is talking about, have you given any standardized tests yet? GRE, GMAT, IELTS, TOEFL, even if any other tests like Duolingo or English proficiency tests, just let me know. Okay. And this is a multiple choice question. So if you have given GRE and IELTS, you can choose both of them and any combination that you have. Okay, this is very interesting. Keep going, keep going. We have like 30 seconds left to close this poll, so just keep going. Great. A lot of people have given GMAT, which makes sense. Okay, now we are at a balance, 36%, 36% each. Okay. We are missing about 20 replies, so just respond as fast as you can. Okay. We're still at a tie between GRE and GMAT. Okay. I'll just wait for another 10 seconds and we'll close this poll as well. If you're still preparing for it, maybe you can choose other standardized tests, I guess, Shelly, so that I can understand that if you're still preparing for it. Thanks for that. Okay. Great. So we understand the popularity. I'll just share the results in a second. Okay. It's fine. If you're preparing for GMAT, then probably you chose GMAT, which is also fine. I'll just end the poll and I'll show you the results. Okay. So we have 25% people who gave GRE and 28% people who are preparing for or already have given GMAT, 18% IELTS. So this is good, and this makes sense because of the post-pandemic world we're living in. So, and also this is a management degree. So I think GMAT is something that a lot of people prefer. It's a myth that universities prefer GMAT over GRE when it comes to management programs. Actually, right now with the pandemic situation, there is no such preference. There was a little bit of preference with MBA programs with GMAT when it comes to management degrees, but right now, seeing the condition that we are in, there is no such preference. So whether you are giving GRE or GMAT, all that matters is your score. So how high is your score, and how you can improve your score. So we have two more poll questions, which we'll do during the webinar. So I'll just start sharing my screen, and we'll start with the call itself. We have another question. Can you please tell that how an engineer get into MIM? Definitely. So what we are going to do is talk about that for the next 1 hour. So you don't have to worry about it. I'll just share my screen and we can start. Just let me know if you can share this, if you can see the screen. I guess you can. Okay. Also, how we are going to conduct this webinar is, if you have any questions, I will recommend you that you raise your hand. And if you want to put it in the chat, that also works for me. Other than that, if you think that you have to explain me a little bit more about it, we can take it in the end during the Q&A session. Okay. So we'll dive directly into the topic of today, which is the 5-step approach to get into top MIM schools. Okay. Now, before we start, it's extremely important for you guys to understand who are you talking to, and why you should be listening to me. How much experience do I have working with this? Okay, I just see that. Yeah, I will discuss about INSEAD a lot, Hardik, because it's actually one of the top MIM colleges. So if you have a top MIM college in your mind, we are going to talk about it. Don't worry about it, okay? Just a little bit about myself. I currently am a Europe admissions lead at Jamboree. I take care of the Europe department, and MIM, as you might have looked at, the top 10 universities. And even if you go around top 20, top 30 universities, they are in Europe. So that definitely becomes one of my specializations, because we receive a lot of queries around MIM and admissions and requests to help them with MIM degrees. So I specialize into MIM, MIS, and engineering management courses. If that's something that you're looking at, either of them, you definitely should be contacting me. I'll have my contacts in the end of this session. I'll share them with you. Today is going to be a lot about MIM. How I got into studying abroad is, I was 18 years old when I started studying at Politecnico di Torino. It's the oldest technical university in Italy. Around that time, I also got an opportunity to do an exchange year in Shanghai. So I ended up holding a double bachelor's in mechanical and production engineering. Both these universities I studied in Italy and Shanghai was on full scholarships. So whenever I work with any student, I make sure that we are exploring all the assistantship or scholarship opportunities that are possible for the student. I in total received 45,500 euros of scholarship and 100% tuition waiver. So I studied almost on full scholarships during my bachelor's. I have experience of working with more than 400 students with application, scholarship, visa processes. Anything that you have a question about, I think I can answer that. And that's why, if you have any questions around anything that hasn't been answered until now, if you are facing any problems, do let me know in the end, or put it in the chat, so I'll look at it when we finish this presentation. Okay. So now that I have introduced myself, and now I know a little bit about you, what you're looking at, we can start directly with understanding what is MIM. I'll take a few minutes explaining what is MIM, why MIM, what a profile at MIM class looks like, and then we'll go into the 5-step approach that is going to be extremely important for your applications. So understanding what is MIM, it's a 1 or 2 year program. Usually you can call it 12 months to 24 months program. A lot of universities have come up with this 14-month hybrid program or 16-month program as well. So you can consider anywhere from 12 to 24 months. Who should be looking for MIM is anybody who is an early career professional, people with 0 to 24 years of 24 months of work experience, and who are trying to step into fields like management consulting, investment banking, marketing, accounting, finance. These are very segregated fields. If you're also looking at social media management or around marketing analyst, those kinds of positions, it still is one of the programs that you should be looking for. When we talk about MIM, we are talking about specializations a lot. So if you're looking at family business specialization, entrepreneurship, then also you should be looking at some very specific MIM programs. And the more you research about them, the more you'll find that there are specializations like luxury brand management, normal brand management, family business management, all of that. What do you usually study in MIM degree is basic economics, accounting, organizational theory, corporate finance. That's usually a part of your first year or the first semester courses, because MIM admits students who are engineering graduates, even commerce graduates. So they do provide you the basic that you need in order to become a management professional. And then it starts with the specialization. So most of the time you will see that the last semester or the mid semester, it starts with a specialization, and you end up having one specialization, which can be in fields of investment banking, finance, or marketing, or management consulting, also for that sense. But that's exactly what MIM program is. It's for early career professionals. It's 12 to 24 months program for anybody with 0 to 24 months of work experience. Now, if you have 24 plus months of work experience, then definitely we have to look into the profile a little bit and then see that where you should be aiming for, right? Because some schools might be a little bit strict about it, but there are some schools which are not as strict about this 24-month limit of work experience. Now, why MIM is a good question that you should be asking, because you will also get asked by your parents. So definitely you need to know why MIM is the right choice for you at this point in life. First of all, with the popularity of MIM right now, all the top ranked business schools have started providing MIM degrees. Somebody just asked me, I think Hardik asked me, will I talk about INSEAD? INSEAD is the top business school in Europe. And recently, I think it has become extremely popular among US citizens as well. So a lot of people are traveling from US to France and Singapore to study at INSEAD. And INSEAD last year started their first class of MIM. So with that, the popularity that MIM degrees have gained has helped the MIM graduates get jobs. So the employability is all-time high right now. If you think about any top consulting firm, they will have MIM graduates. And all you have to do is go on LinkedIn, write MIM, write name of a business school, and you will see that there are you can't even count the number of people who are working in consulting just out of MIM. So without having any years of work experience, which is almost impossible after an engineering or a BCom degree. So that's one reason why MIM has become a lot popular, because top ranked business schools are catering to it. Second, alumni network. So you must understand that MBA is all about networking. MIM is also a lot about networking, because it gives you the access to the global network of all the alumni that particular school has. For example, HEC Paris has number of alumni who are working at top companies in Paris and across the world. So as an MIM graduate, you become one of their alumni, and it gives you the access to that network. That works with all the universities, whether you talk about universities in India or abroad. So having this access is something at the age of 21, 22, 23 is something that you should really look at. So look forward to it. Third is international exposure. Once you graduate with your Indian degree, or for that sense, suppose you also studied abroad, you need to have a little bit of international exposure in order to work with MNCs. MNCs at positions which are front end, right? So that adds so much to your resume. And with an MIM degree, that's exactly what you get. So you get to study in a university which is far off from the country. Most of the time they are in Europe. Some of them are in North America, Australia, Canada as well. So that's the international exposure that becomes a part of your resume after you are done with your MIM degree. Practical application. I think there is this myth around MIM that it's a lot about theory, but I'll tell you that they have this, most of the MIM programs, I think top MIM programs we're talking about, they have at least 6 months to 4 months, depending on the duration of the whole program. There is this mandatory curricular internship that students have to do. And most of the time, students end up doing in top companies like BCG, Schneider, L'Oreal, depending on the specialization that you have chosen. So there is a lot of practical application when you're looking at MIM courses as well. In-demand skills. This actually is a lot about employability at this point, because you understand that degrees are very conventional the way they were designed before. MBA is an executive degree. It was designed a lot of time ago. So there are things that MBA does not cater to. For example, there is no specialization about management consulting. or there is no specialization about family business management or investment banking, also corporate finance, or just like, let's say, finance. There's not a lot that MBA degree talks about when we talk about specialization, right? It's all mostly general management. So MIM caters to these very specific in-demand skills of the 21st century, and that's how probably you can get a job that you're looking at. Even if you're like 22, 23-year-old, doesn't matter, because you have the right set of skills in your MIM degree. The last thing is access to top employers. If you guys have studied in India, you will know that if you want to become a consultant at McKinsey, for example, it doesn't hire from a lot of colleges. McKinsey hires from IIM, ABC, and IIT Bombay. That's all. These are the 4 or 5 colleges they hire for their junior associate roles, which is the entry level role for management consulting. You do not have access to such companies even if you're studying at top premier institutes in India. But going to an MIM degree gives you access to all these companies which you might not have access to just after, out of school, let's say after your engineering degree or a BCom degree or whatever you have been studying. So these are 6 very strong points why MIM is something that is extremely popular right now, and it's on the top of mind for a lot of young graduates. Now you might have a question that I don't have a great profile, right? So how will I get into top MIM schools? So that's why I have this slide for you to make this a little bit more real for you. So understand that how does a class at a top MIM school looks like? And as somebody asked, this is the class of INSEAD. INSEAD is one of the top business schools. The average age they have is 22. So if you think you're too young or too old to get into MIM, you're not. You can be 20-year-old, 21-year-old, you can be 24, 25. You are the right person to be in the class at one of the top MIM schools. The amount of work experience is 0.8. I will say that with the pandemic, this has gone even down because a lot of young graduates, fresh graduates, they're going into MIM because the job market is extremely difficult. Even if you are in the job, you might get laid off and promotions are not easy. So a lot of people are looking for upskilling. So MIM becomes the go-to option because of less investment that it asks and the huge returns on investment that you get after an MIM degree. If you're looking at GMAT range, you might think that 620 is a little less, but people with 620 have gotten into schools like INSEAD. So the range goes from 620 to 730, and this is middle 80%. So there will be some people less than 620, and obviously there will be people who have more than 730. But this is also not something where they're asking for a 780, 770, 750, right? So there are little compromises also on the GMAT range here. So you should not be very worried about getting your GMAT score that high. Why you should be worrying about it, I'll talk about it later, because that's one of the steps in our 5-step strategy that we're looking at to get into top MIM schools. Nationality is 32, huge diversity. It's almost like an MBA class. INSEAD offers their courses in 177 countries. So they have 32 nationalities in their MIM class, so which is good for Indian students, I'll say, because we do bring diversity. You might be an individual with a different background, and then you're looking at a management role. So definitely you bring diversity to the class. And women make up around 39% of INSEAD MIM class. So if you're a female looking for MIM, MBAs do not have such high percentage of women, since it's a early career degree, I think, and also because there are a lot of interest that has been developed among young professionals. I think a lot of women in India who do BCom degrees, or let's say they go for, so one of my students, she was from DU doing BCom, and she got into a top MIM college, and right now she's working. I'll talk about her a little bit later in this call itself. So she did tell that, MIM classes are a little more gender equal as compared to MBA colleges because of the executive degree that it is. This is the class. I think this must have cleared some doubts that you might have had. Now, starting with, now that you understand what is MIM, why MIM, and what does the class look like, let's get directly into the 5-step approach for getting into top MIM schools, right? I would like to launch a poll here so that we can at least see who is awake and who is not. And if you have any question, I think there will be these questions also that you might have. So I've launched the poll. Select what suits you the most if you're interested in a master's in management degree, or if you're confused about MIM or MBA. So I talk to a lot of students throughout the day, And there is this big confusion around, should I go for an MIM degree? Should I go for a MBA degree? So we will talk about it a little bit, but I will say that just understand this one rule, that if you have less than 24 months of experience, you are not eligible for top MBA programs abroad, right? And if you have less than 24 months of experience, you are eligible for top MIM programs. Now, this is needless to say that you should always be preferring top programs. So if MIM is something you're eligible for, then do apply for it rather than going for an MBA at this point when you're not even eligible. So there is not even a choice that you think that there is a choice. And there are a lot of people who think about return on investment. I will say that return on investment is around 35% higher for MIM degrees as compared to MBA degrees. And why is that so? We'll talk about in this call. I'll share the results with you. So I'm glad that a lot of people here are clear about their MIM option. So 60% people are very sure about being interested in MIM degrees, which is true, which should be the case. But if you are among the 40% who are a little bit confused, just ask yourself, how many months of work, full-time work experience do you have? Don't count your internships because your MBA school will also not count that. And if you have less than 24 months of work experience, then MIM is something that you should be looking at. I have just one more poll, I think, because it's very much related to this. And this might be a myth buster as well. So might be very revealing to you. So let's just, let's answer this. So the PGP or PGDM program at IIMs, they are internationally recognized as what? Yeah, I like that some people are choosing, they're not sure. Good. You can put a bat on it, but if you're not sure, you can just choose that. Okay. Okay, I see a raised hand also. I'll try to explain this as well. And I'm not seeing the chat just because, we'll just lose the speed. So I don't want to do that. I will be looking at the chat at the end. So do post your questions, comments, queries, confusions, whatever, doesn't let you sleep at night, just put it in the chat and I'll try to answer that. So we have 5 responses left. Can you please answer? I'll be closing this in 9 seconds. If you have not responded, please respond so that you can just say, I'm not sure. I think that's what a lot of people are saying, which is good. At least you are ready to know more about it. Okay, I'll just end the poll and I'll share the results with you. Okay, this is what I was expecting. The PGP or PGDM program at IIMs are internationally recognized as MIM degrees, right? Now, you have to understand, if you're preparing for CAT also right now, you have to understand that there is PGP program at IIMs, and then there is PGPX, which is an executive degree. We all understand that MBA internationally is an executive degree. It's not a degree that you can enroll in after just finishing your bachelor's degree internationally. So when you look at international standards, international recognition, you go to Financial Times ranking, IIMs are placed among the MIM rankings, the PGP program, because it's the early career program, right? So when you are applying for your MBA degree after, like anything you're applying to, or if you're putting it on your resume CV, you will have to put it like a MIM degree instead of an MBA degree, because they are not MBAs. What is MBA is PGPX, which is the executive degree at IIMs. And the 53% people who are not sure, I think you have received the answer. So yeah, great crowd. You're accepting if you're not aware of it. Okay, so that's, let's start with the 5-step approach here. And I think we have busted enough myths, so we can go into what's the reality now. The first step to your MIM journey to top MIM schools is going to be start early. This is going to be your first advice. And this is not something I'm saying. This is something that every single person who I have talked to, who is the alumni of Jamboree, they say that one advice, if I can give somebody, is start early and get done with your standardized tests. Why? I will talk about it. And this is one very important line. If you want to take a screenshot, take a screenshot. It says that scores is equal to scholarships. If anybody of you is interested in scholarships, then you should know that standardized tests are going to be extremely important because it's an early career program, right? You haven't accomplished a lot in your life if you're just graduating, so you don't have the profile which can provide you scholarships. So what can give you scholarships are your standardized test scores. Okay, and we'll talk about the equivalence. We'll go into the numbers because some of you might be very interested in finance and all and very quantitative. So we'll go into the numbers instead of talking about it. What are standardized tests? I think you understand they are GRE, GMAT, IELTS, TOEFL. Now, what are the 5 steps to start your test prep? Okay, these are just very simple steps, but I think nobody tells you, you don't know them. And whenever you start, we start wrong. Okay, and this is something that I have learned in my journey as well. The first thing that you have to do is decide what exam you want to give. Okay, there is a bunch of exams when you talk about English proficiency test right now. The most popular, as we saw in the poll itself, is IELTS because it's accepted all around the world. Also in Europe, it's more popular than TOEFL. So IELTS is something that you want to give. Make sure that you write it on a piece of paper and then you're done with it. Okay, you're not changing your mind again and again. If you're looking at GRE or GMAT, then do understand that there are differences in both the exams. Okay, there are 2 ways to decide if you want to do GRE or GMAT. One very easy way, it's a go-to thing that you should be doing, is to give 1 mock test each, right? You give 1 mock test of GRE, official mock test is what I'm talking about, and 1 mock test of GMAT. And you see where you're scoring better. Because sometimes you don't understand what you're good at. And when you do these mock tests, you understand that what are you subconsciously good at. A lot of people are subconsciously naturally good at grammar, whereas a lot of people, they read a lot and stuff, so they're naturally good at vocabulary. So there are different strengths that you have as a test taker. So if you're good at vocabulary, GRE is probably one thing where you will excel. If you're good at grammar, if you can go on social media and correct all those grammar mistakes of all the YouTube comments or social media comments, then grammar is like GMAT is the way to go for you. So make sure that you're doing mock tests, understanding what are the scores you're getting. Now you might ask me that, I got a 310 on GRE and 680 on GMAT. So how do I compare them? There are online equivalence calculators, so you can put your scores there, and then they will tell you where did you do better. Okay, because that's what business schools also do. So if they're comparing one Indian student with another Indian student, and one has given GRE and one has given GMAT, they would use the equivalence software to understand who has done better, at least in the standardized test. So make sure this is something not a lot of people talk about. I think nobody on YouTube even talks about it. So this equivalence thing is going to be very important once you do your mock tests. Now, important, again, give the mock test on your first day. Today, if you think, okay, I attended this session with Rahul at Jamboree and I want to do MIM, today is your first day, give a mock test. Okay, today it might be a little bit late and today is Saturday, but Sunday morning, tomorrow morning, wake up, set up like 3.5 to 4 hours apart from your whole schedule of the day and give this test. Okay, and GRE and GMAT are very, very generic tests. So these are like 10 standard mathematics, 12 standard mathematics, and English that you usually use in your daily life. So you don't have to prepare for it. And also what mock tests do is that they help you understand what is your natural score, right? Once you understand your natural score, let's say 610 is your natural score, then you can understand, okay, what is my target score? My target score is 680. So you start preparing for it and you reach, let's say 650. And then you're like, what am I missing? What should I do? Should I buy a test prep course? How should I consult more people about it? Then you reach your 680 and then you're ready to give the test, the official test. Okay. So mock test is going to be very important. I will say that tomorrow morning is your time. It's a Sunday morning. If you can, please do a mock test. If you haven't done your test yet. Know where you stand and set a target. So that's what you do after the mock test. Understand that, okay, I'm here and this is my target. So understand how to reach your target score as well. A lot of time, I think what students, they do mistake is they do not reach out to experts. Like they're a little bit scared about calling people who help with test prep or people like me, right? But I think when somebody calls me and then they tell me that, I really got help, a lot of help from you, but I was scared before I called you, I feel bad about it because this is about improving your score. So anything in this world that you can do about improving your score, you should do, right? It's just a call. So call us or call anybody that you think is good with the GRE, GMAT prep. It can be your friends, anybody who has done the exam, and then start working towards your target score. Okay. This Second last point is book your test as soon as possible. It's important again because we as humans procrastinate a lot. So when you book a test, what happens is you subconsciously go into that state of mind that okay, there is a date in front of me. Maybe put it on the table, put it on your wherever you're sitting. This is the date when you're going to give the exam. So once you have that in your mind, you start preparing very naturally. Because even if you have to go to a party, you'll be like, no, I have this date when I have to do the test. But when you haven't booked the test and you have probably taken the test prep or you're just preparing on your own, you'll be like, okay, this is a YouTube video I want to see. So why not go to the party and come back and see a YouTube video? Because that can wait for you. But once you book the test, that cannot wait for you. So understand that in the first week of like starting to prepare for GMAT, book your test. Okay. So if today is your day, then by next Saturday, you should have booked your test if GRE, GMAT, or even MIM is your target. Okay. The last thing is decide how you will prepare. So this is one very big bifurcation I'll say exists. If you're a student, you have a little bit more time in your hand. I don't really know how much because nowadays everything is online and we are very tired already. But when you're a professional, you don't have enough time in your hands. So you have to understand that how much you want to invest into this particular course, test, and both in terms of time and money, right? And I think we are a little cheap when it comes to test prep, and that happens with all of us because the test is already expensive. So we feel like that. But I will tell you why you should not be cheap in your preparation for your test prep because later it's going to give you so much more benefit. Okay. So as a student, as a professional, as a mom, if you're a mom, understand that how much time do you have in a day, right? If you have 2 to 3 hours every day, then write it on a piece of paper and calculate how many hours you can devote in a week, in a month, and then understand that I will take 2 months for this preparation and then I'm going to do the test, or I will take 1.5 months, or I'll take 45 days, 30 days, 15 days, depending on how much time do you have in your hands. Okay, it's very personal. So this is something that you should be doing on a piece of paper right now or maybe after this session. So just take this down that this is what you have to do after the session. Now, I did talk about why we should not be a little bit cheap about the test prep and why we should take the test prep seriously. So one very big reason, I think this is also something that a lot of people do not talk about and a lot of people don't know as well, because when you know 5 people around you who have done MIM or a MBA, then you don't have enough data to process this kind of insights. But since Jamboree has existed for the last 27 years in the industry, it's one of the oldest admission consulting companies. So all the data that we have processed over the years, one insight that we have seen is that every 5 marks that you achieve in your test prep test, right, whatever it's GRE, GMAT, it's equal to about $10,000 in scholarship. Now, when you put it like this, you have to understand that there is a huge difference 5 marks make in your investment that you're doing. And if you're looking at 5 marks, it's equal to $10,000. Then each 1 mark is equal to $2,000. $2,000 is around 1.7 lakhs or 1.6 lakhs in Indian rupees. What you're spending on your test prep is actually 25-30,000. So if you spend 25-30,000 on your test prep, you are actually able to receive. I will say that there is an increase that we have seen in students once they give the mock test at home and then they start preparing with us. There is an increase of 20, 30, 40, 50 marks, right? Depending on how prepared you were when you did your first mock test. So think about it. Let's say the least increase that you can receive, let's say you scored 680 at home, then you took the classes at Jamboree and then you receive 700 score. These difference of 20 marks can actually lead to a difference of $40,000 in scholarship. And what you spend for your GRE prep or GMAT prep is around, 300 to 400 to $500. So there is a huge difference when it comes to scholarship applications. And as I already told you, we are only talking about MIM today. You are an early career professional. You don't have enough in your profile. You haven't been a consultant at McKinsey or BCG. So you don't have that profile yet, right? So what matters a lot in your profile right now is standardized tests. So that's why you have to take it a little bit more seriously as compared to when you're applying for executive programs like MBAs. Now, a good score becomes extremely important to compensate also for a low CGPA. So you all understand that CGPA is something that we can't change, right? We were in college and we got a CGPA of, let's say, 6.8 or 7. Now you can't go back to college and change that. So how do you compensate for a low CGPA? If you are in that condition, understand that standardized tests are the only quantitative way to compensate for a low CGPA. Okay. And definitely there are more things which make the whole process holistic, like profile building, story building, which we'll talk about, which is definitely one of the most important part of your application as well. But if this is something that you can do, if you're good at mathematics, if you think you can do very well in the verbal part of it, you can learn a little bit of vocabulary, you can learn a little bit of grammar and do well in the test as well, then please do that, because you're not doing it for anybody else. You're doing it for your financiers. If your parents are financing you, then you're getting scholarships, which is good for you and your parents. At the same time, it just takes a little bit of time on your part, right? So just spend a little bit more time preparing for the exam and get more scholarships so that you don't pay a lot. And then there is return on investment, which increases dramatically. Okay. Lastly, test scores are crucial when it comes to admission committee decisions as well. As we belong to the South Asian continent, we compete with other Indian students and the Chinese students. So we are already competing in an area where the average GRE scores or GMAT scores are high. So you have to make sure that even to get admitted into the top MIM schools, we have to be very careful about our test scores. Okay. Now, I think when you do the GRE or GMAT mock test, you will see that you're at average. That happens with most of the people. I'm not talking about the top 20% people in the world, but most of the people, when I took my GRE, I was at 310. So that is the average GRE score. It's not something that will get me into the top MIM schools. So what approach that we take is we go on YouTube, we go on internet, and we try to prepare for that. And what happens after that is you get a good increase of, let's say, 10 marks. You reach 320. So that is good. It's not a bad score. You can actually look at a lot of MS options with a 320 score. But when it comes to top MIM colleges, which is a management degree, you have to go from good to great. And the important thing for going from good to great is not only test prep. It's not only about taking lectures. It's not only about doing your homework on time. It's about analytics, understanding that I am weak in PNC, permutations and combinations, and I'm not weak in algebra. So I should not be spending more time in algebra or probability. I should be spending more time on permutations and combinations. But right now, I think with all this AI into the test prep right now, analytics is going to be extremely important. And I think that's one thing that should be the reason why you should be looking into test prep. And do evaluate your options. There are like plenty of companies that offer certain programs. At Jamboree, we understand that scores are important first of all, and then over the years we have developed and customized it to what students really want and how a student can score better than what they scored in their home and doing their mock test and all of that. So I think Jamboree portal is something that you should definitely give a try. And then if you're confused, definitely give us a call and understand that. But what we're talking about mainly is going from average to good is through probably your internet resources. But from good to great, if you want to go, if you really want to go to great, and I will tell you why you should be going for great. There are great compensations that you receive out of it. You should actually look at a test prep, which is also using analytics and AI a little bit. So that's very important for you to have some tech involved in your test prep. Okay, so I just promised you that I'll tell you why it's important, having a good score, and then what can you get out of it. Just a little bit less lazy, and then you can get a lot of things out of it. So what happened with some of our students, I'll tell you. So Shivani from Delhi, she studied her BCom at Delhi University, and she applied for MIM course at Bocconi University, which is among the top 10 universities for MIM courses. And she received 100% scholarship for the 2 years, right? And she had a GRE score of 330. Now, just understand that if you have 320, you don't get scholarships, right? Our students who had 320, they didn't get any scholarships. But when we talked to the admission officer, she told us that, if you have 330 or 330 plus, there are 100% scholarships. So that's actually something that a lot of students don't know. When you have a 320 or 321, you're happy about it. You're like, okay, I'm done with it, and I'm going to apply it now. I'm going to spend more time on the application and everything. But you are still not past your first step. You have to focus on your first step a little bit more So what is remaining is actually getting to that level where you can receive 100%, 50% scholarships. And there are options that you have. It's just that your score should be of that mark. She did it like about 3 years ago. So she studied at Bocconi University for 2 years. She was a fresh graduate, so she didn't have any work experience after graduating from Delhi University. And now, after 2 years, she got a job as investment banker in London. Her salary is obviously, you can look at what investment bankers in London earn. London is a hub for investment banking. And she studied in Italy. So there's no restrictions around Europe also. So when you're studying in Europe, you're like, you can study in Italy, you can do your internship in Belgium or Netherlands or Switzerland, and you can end up working in London. So there are a lot of options that you are exposed to when you're studying in Europe. So that's been her journey. I'll take you to somebody who did a GMAT. It was Shivang. Shivang was from Bangalore. He did his BTech at amidst College of Engineering. And after that, he didn't have any work experience again. He wanted to go for MIM at ESCP Business School. So we applied to a couple of schools for him, and ESCP was something that he chose. He had a GMAT of 721, which is, again, I'll say not great, because when you don't know what is the scale, you will see that, okay, 700 is also good for you sometimes, 720 is good, sometimes 730 is also something you feel it's not good, right? So for him, he received 100% scholarship for the first year. So ESCP Business School charges about 18,000 euros, which is around 17 to 18 lakhs per year for the 2-year program that they have. And he received 100% scholarship for the first year. So it was, he only had to pay the tuition fee for the second year, right? So that was based on his standardized test scores, his GMAT score. Now he's working as a strategic marketing analyst in Paris, because he chose to be in the ESCP Paris campus in the second year. So there's main information that we can give to you, but I'll just say that these two examples were something I wanted to show you why standardized tests are going to be important in the long term for you. Okay. So first point was definitely starting with your preparation around test prep. Second is shortlisting the universities. And there is every slide you'll see this one line, which is most important in the whole point, as ambitious to moderate to safe. I'll explain you what it means. So when you're shortlisting your universities, and if we look at the database of Jamboree that we have gathered in the last 27 years, there are like millions of options that you have. For MIM, which is a comparatively newer course, we have 100 plus options. So you have to understand what is right for you. And when I say what is right for you, we have to understand what is right for your profile, right? Because every person is different. You might have a more strong profile towards, let's say, marketing, and somebody might have a more strong profile towards social development or NGO like they might have worked with NGOs or more like social work background. So you have to understand what university is going to be the right one for you. Okay. So the most important thing that you have to do after you're done with your testing, and also you can do simultaneously, is to evaluate your profile. Now, we all know that we have a little bit of bias when we are evaluating our own profiles. So it's better to have some expert involved, right? So you talk to somebody, you tell them that this is my resume, this is my profile, let's evaluate it together. It can be a friend of yours who has done MIM, who has done MBA, somebody who has enough knowledge about MIM. It can be me if you want to call us and help you in helping you understand what are some universities that are the right choice for you. So evaluation of your profile is very important. Understand that what all choices that you have a chart of all the choices that you have. You can have Excel sheet. And then after that, talk to an expert about your post MIM goals. I will give you an example how this helps a lot. But having this clarity in mind, that what do you want to do after your MIM, is going to help you, first of all, with your essay writing, because there will be questions. Why are you coming to INSEAD? Why are you coming to London Business School? Like, what do you want to get out of your MIM degree? It helps with that. At the same time, I'll give you some inside secrets. Like if you're interested, let's say, in management consulting, okay, that's something that you want to do after your MIM, then you should have the list of universities where 30%, 35%, a huge chunk of people get placed in management consulting companies. Now, this is something that you can find on the website sometimes, because there are like placement statistics, but they arrive a little bit late, right? Because the whole placement process will go and then they will release on the official website. But what we do is we track our students, our alumni. So what they are doing. So if we had like a lot of people at INSEAD, what we'll do is we'll see where they are going. So that helps us understand that, okay, more people from INSEAD, for example, are going for management consulting. So if we have a student who is interested in management consulting, we'll be like, okay, you might want to consider INSEAD as one of your choices because 30% of the class at INSEAD gets into management consulting. So that's actually one of the things that happens. And that's a very deep level, a very low level of shortlisting of universities. So it's a very detailed way of shortlisting universities. If you're doing it for yourself, not taking any outside help, you should still do this, right? Because this is going to be very important. You are going to spend 2 years at that university. So make this choice very wisely. Have a look at the admission requirements of universities. This always helps because you might have something which is better for one university, and you might have, let's say, something missing for other university. So you make sure that you're looking at the requirements, understand what the university is looking for. Now, this is something, again, it can be a little tricky if you don't have expert help. What university is looking for. At Jamboree, we help students a lot, right? We help a lot of students in the whole year. So we understand that what kind of profiles get into what kind of schools. Okay, so if we have a profile for ESCP, we have enough data to understand that is your profile going to make it to ESCP, or should we focus it towards London Business School? Because maybe your profile does not have what it needs for ESCP, which is a great school, but it has all the things that it requires to go to London Business School or INSEAD or HEC Paris or ESSEC. So I think that kind of expertise is something that you can receive with people who have experience. So if you have people around you, great. If you do not, then do consult with experts, at least for the shortlisting, if not for the whole process. After you're done with that, you also have to understand that you have to create a balanced portfolio of universities. Now, I said ambitious, moderate, and safe. What does that mean? It means that you have to have universities which are a good set of some are ambitious universities. For example, for a profile like yours, INSEAD can be an ambitious college. For a lot of people who are applying to Harvard, for them, Harvard is an ambitious college, which is there is like 20 to 30% chances they will get into Harvard. And I think everybody feels the same about Harvard and then they get in. But it's something that is in the top. These are Ivy League colleges. So they are ambitious colleges. So when you're applying to 10 universities or 5 universities, you don't want all of them to be ambitious. You want 2 or 3 of them to be ambitious. Then you have to have 3 to 5 or like 2 universities which are moderate amount of risk. For example, a London Business School, ESCP Business School, Bocconi University. So you keep it moderate. But okay, I have a CGPA, I have a good test scores, and I have a good chance of getting into that school. And lastly, you keep a safe university. Safe is where you will get in even if you ruin your interview. Let's say you didn't have a good day and you just did really bad in your interview, but you should still get in. So that's the approach that we have at Jamboree. When we create a portfolio of universities that we shortlist for students, we are making sure that we have some ambitious universities because you never know when you make it to Harvard, but there should be a good amount of moderate universities because that's exactly what you're looking for. And then there should be one safe university or 2 safe universities where you're going to make it, whether you do good or do bad. And I think this has helped us and receive like 100% success rate with our admits as well. So you definitely get an admit when you work with us at Jamboree. That's what we have been able to do for the last 27 years. So that's actually the strategy that we use. If you're doing it for yourself, do use this strategy, right? And lastly, a focus on quality, not on quantity. This is a common mistake that students do, and I did that as well when I was applying abroad. That I wanted to apply to as many universities as I want. So my Excel sheet was like full of 20 universities, and I ended up applying to 12 of them. It's not good because what you do is you divide your effort into 10, 20 universities, which is fine because you think there is a higher chance, there is a higher probability, but that's actually not true because you should be looking at what are the universities you will actually go to, right? Because when I received admits, I was like, I don't even care if I get admitted to this university. But the thing is, why did I apply to them if I don't care about getting into them? So that's what you have to understand. Okay. The focus on quality, choose 5 universities, 6 universities, that's a good number, and focus on their essay writing, getting prepared for their test prep, interview preparation, which is going to be the next step as well. So that's going to be important. Let's move on to the third step in our whole approach to reach top schools. This is storyboarding and essay writing. Now, again, make yourself stand apart from the crowd. I have been in a number of interview processes, like for a lot of alumni do interviews. At the same time, we interact with admission officers a lot on a weekly basis. We have sessions. So, what I have learned from them is that a lot of Indian students have template answers. You understand what is template answer or model answers? Is when I say, how are you? You say, I'm fine. That's a template answer, right? That's not something that you even think of. You just say it out that I'm fine. So template answers are definitely not something that you should be doing in interviews. Now, how do you avoid that? You do not Google to answer the essays. Never Google to answer the essays. Never Google to even prepare for that. Because if it's on Google, you know that at least 100, 200 people have already used it. And the admission officer has heard that same answer 100 times. You don't want to do the same mistake, because if you do that in your first question, they will lose interest, you will get rejected. That happens a lot. So when we do interview prep for our students, we do mock interviews, and we realize that student tried to prepare from Google and it doesn't work. So we just change the complete strategy. We help them create their own answers, and that is difficult, right? Storyboarding is very difficult because you come from, let's say, a background in pharmaceuticals or a background in political science, and you're applying to MIM. So there is very little alignment that we can have in that sense. But when we do our brainstorming sessions, and that's where we start, we make sure that there is a story. There has to be, step one, step two, step three. There has to be one story which we are following in order to lead the student from here to here. And then that has to be very stable story which remains stable throughout the interviews, the essays, the CV, and everything. Plagiarism again means rejection. So do not plagiarize. There are so many softwares the admission officers they use to understand if you have plagiarized. This happened right as a wrong school. I was talking to somebody from NCR, and they told me that they receive essays which talk about Harvard, right? So it doesn't feel good when you receive an essay which is written for Harvard and you send it to your INSEAD. What happens is the student write one essay and then they copy and paste it to a lot of applications, which is fine if the student feels so. And if you do it on your own, you don't have a writer assigned to you, and you don't have all the time to write 10 different essays for 10 different colleges, which is fine. But make sure that you are doing these small edits, right? Just change Harvard to INSEAD, name of the professor, name of the club that you are interested in, research projects. Make sure that you are doing the necessary changes, because that actually means rejection. You can have a GMAT score of 800 and you'll get rejected if you do such mistake. Look for natural alignment. We have seen students who try to force alignment, right? So we had a student who came from fashion design, and then they were going for MIM. So what they were trying to do is to create a startup. Like, you can't create a startup in 6 months, but they wanted to do something around it just because they want to have a story to align themselves to MIM. This is not fine, because I tell you, admission officers, the admission committee, we call it ADCOM, they're extremely smart. So when you do something just for the sake of putting it on your CV, they will catch it, right? And they will ask you so many questions in detail about why do you think you wanted to start a startup? Is your company registered with the Indian government? If it's not registered, then how do you call it a startup? What are the revenues? So many questions that you will receive. And actually that never, it's not a good plan. You'd never succeed if you do that. So we at Jamboree, what we try to do is what you have already done and what we're going to do, right? So there has to be an alignment there. And I have a very good example, which I will show you in the next slide, which we did with one of our students. And I'll also take some questions now. So if you have more questions, just put them down, because I think it will be a little difficult taking all of them in the end. Talk to our experts and do story building sessions. So I just love story building sessions that we do, because we understand that students, they are looking at their stories from their side. And then when a third person comes into the picture and tells them that, oh, there is an alignment, which you're not able to see, that happens a lot. And that's actually very good for their profile. So if that happens, you get an admit. If there is a good alignment, it definitely guarantees an admit. Write down the first draft as soon as possible. So actually, first draft is something you should always write on your own, and you should write it as soon as possible. So today, if you have this session and I think your brain is working, you are brainstorming a little bit, after this session, go and write down some ideas why you doing whatever doing right now and doing an MIM, how does that make sense? So that actually should be done after this call or tomorrow, right? keep updating or making changes. So great essays are not written in a day. I know a lot of students who wait for a deadline. They're like, I'll write on the last day. Never works. So don't wait for a lot of time. Make the first draft, keep changing, and you'll receive a great essay. Get your essays proofread by somebody before you submit. So experts are great, but if you have friends who are good with grammar, sentence structure, then do some proofreading. Get your essays proofread. Get an expert opinion on your alignment. As I told you, fake alignment doesn't work. Real alignments are great. So do take care of that. Avoid following the three most common mistakes. One is repeating. If you're writing about 3 projects on your CV, don't write about the same 3 projects on your um, essays. And don't talk about the same 3 projects in your interview. Because what you're trying to show is that I am this balanced individual who has leadership quality, organizational skills, behavioral leadership skills. So all these kinds of qualities you have to show. So if you're always talking about the same 3 instances, what you're doing is you're restricting yourself to just one kind of persona, which is not something that management students are. So these are some of the most important things when we talk about storyboarding. I was talking about one of our students. So this was an example. Dhruv is an engineering grad. He had a 7.2 CGPA and a 630 GMAT. Right? What are the challenges here? That the CGPA is very average, and even the GMAT score is very average. Okay, and there is a big issue with the story that he has been preparing for UPSC for 2 years. Right, so he has a gap in his profile of 2 years. And in this 2 years, he hasn't done anything, right? Because when you prepare for UPSC, you are going to be, in the government of India. So you don't do a lot of stuff because it's already draining. So when he came to us and he was applying to MIM colleges, we had to create a road to alignment, because for him, it was just the highway to alignment, because we had to dig deeper into achievements in school and colleges, because he didn't have any full-time work experience. He just went into directly preparing for UPSC. So that's what we did. And we understood that what he wanted to do after his MIM was management consulting. Now, that's a very good insight. And if no expert is asking you, you should ask yourself that what do I want after my MIM degree? And for him was management consulting. So when we did story building for him, we put that he had a consulting interest and he had prepared for UPSC. So he had a lot of knowledge about the government sector, the social development sector, public policy, international relations. So what we did was we aligned that story with his consulting interest in the social development sector. So BCG, McKinsey, Bain, all the consulting firms, they have their social development sector consulting as well. Most of them are set up in abroad. So India does not have a lot of social development consulting opportunities, but he was going abroad. So great for him again. So that was the story, one part of the story that we built. And what was the result? That even after having average CGPA, average GMAT, 2 years of gap, sometimes you don't even get into master's degree with 2 years of gap. He got into 3 MIM schools, and he chose Frankfurt School of Business for obviously the scholarships that he received. So that was his profile, and I think that was one of the challenging cases that we received for the student. The fourth thing is interview prep, but I'll take some questions because I have 19 chat questions. Okay. Rishabh is asking, can you please tell that how an engineer get into MIM programs for German universities? They require some amount of ECTS. ECTS is actually credit system, so you're talking about that. And MIM programs for German universities, I'll say TU Munich has one. TU Munich School of Management offers a very good program for engineering graduates. So if you're an engineering graduate, if you have a 4 years of degree, then you are fulfilling the ECTS credits. But they are also allowing it for natural sciences. So if you have a BSc degree, which is a 3-year course, you're still eligible for that. So German MIM programs, tuition free. TU Munich, which is the top university of Germany, you have that options. And for them, you don't need the standardized test. So you don't need GRE, you don't need GMAT. There will be essay requirements. You have to write an essay. So those will be the requirement for a top university like TU Munich in Germany. Will you also discuss about INSEAD? We did discuss a lot about INSEAD. I think a lot of slides, I have taken inspiration from INSEAD. I talked to Nina, who is the French admission officer at INSEAD. I met her when I was in France. So we did take a lot of inspiration for our MIM package from INSEAD because it's one of the top schools. Sayan, a fourth year student after placement and working for 2.5 years, can we go for MIM in European countries? Sayan, I think I would like to talk to you more in detail because you have passed the 24-month that bracket of what people should apply for MIM. So I need to understand where have you been working, and if these 2.5 years have been full time, and then there are some options that are definitely working for you, but then there are some options which might not be working for you. So we have to look at your profile personally. So Sayan, maybe you can contact me. I'll share my phone number here itself so that in case you're getting a little late, just text me there. So this is my WhatsApp contact. So maybe you guys can contact me there. Yeah. Okay. So we're getting questions. Yeah. Bhumika is asking, please talk about specializations in MIM and the timeline to give exams like GRE and IELTS for 2022 intake. Bhumika, deadlines are approaching. So round one is open for a lot of MIM schools. We are doing applications for our students right now. So you have to start now. Okay. And for international students, I'll say round one, round two are the best. So if you're preparing for GMAT, GRE, whatever you're wanting, you should be doing that in the next 45 days. So that's actually, if you're looking at September 22 intake, right? Can you also talk about international business management? Shaili, this again is a MSc program. So, it's probably similar, the kind of preparation that will go into it. So there's not a lot of difference. It's just that it's not MIM, right? Otherwise, it's a management program, early career program. So not a lot of difference. Yash, any recommendations for MIM schools in the US, particularly for real estate? There are some good schools which actually deal with real estate. Just like in India, we have RICS. But I deal with the Europe department mainly. With US, I'm aware of University of Cincinnati, Kent University, Kellogg's has MIM program. When we talk about MIM, we're talking about early career masters in management programs. So they might not be called MIM, but they are equivalent of an MIM. So there are some options, Yash. If you are interested, just call up Jamboree and then ask your queries. They will be happy to answer that. Anahita has a question. I'm a third year student of a 5-year program, law student, MIM and LBS. Great. You bring a lot of diversity, actually. You have 2 internships right now, but you will have 3-4 more internships. Yeah, Anahita. So if you want an early prep program, you can also, call us and let us know that that's what you're wanting. Are we eligible for scholarships if we apply to the schools in the second round of applications? Yes, Vipul, you are eligible. I'll say that the best round is round 1 and round 2 for international students, right? Round 3 and round 4 and round 5 are also fine. But scholarship wise, if you're applying in round 1 or round 2, you're going to get scholarship at least. If you have a good profile, there are good chances of getting scholarship because the funds are there. It's all about funds. Once the funds finish, they finish. So there's nobody who can provide you scholarships. So the earlier, the better. Rutvi, is giving IELTS necessary if you show that your education has been done in English? IELTS is not necessary for countries like Italy, Germany, some of them, but it's recommended. I'll say that don't be lazy about IELTS at least. If you are thinking, I don't want to give GRE or GMAT, then do call us and we can talk about some options without GRE and GMAT. But IELTS is also good for your visa, right? So you don't want to get stuck with your visa as well. So IELTS is something that you should just give it because it's English, right? There's not a lot of preparation that you require. And if you think that you really require IELTS preparation as well, then at Jamboree, we have integrated packages. So you can take IELTS plus MIM package, which also doesn't cost a lot. Tuti has a question. What are the deadlines for submitting admission forms for most colleges in UK? I'm planning to join in 22. Tuti, time is now. So if you're planning to apply for UK colleges, we have received admits for UK colleges already. So if you start now, you'll receive an admit by the end of next month, and we can start with your visa processes, pre-departure orientation, all of that. Shreya has a question. What are your options with respect to SEMs, as well as double degree programs like HEC and St. Gallen? Okay. So this is for another session, Shreya, but I'm happy that you are already aware of all these. SAMS is a great option. SAMS was started by 3 schools, Bocconi being one of them. And it's a group of, let's say, 30 to 35 universities where they allow you to exchange. And the good thing is IIM Ahmedabad is a part of it. IIM Calcutta is a part of it. So students can go to IIM Ahmedabad for 1 year and then study in Paris for 1 year. Never happens, right? It's a great opportunity to be a part of SAMS. SAMs just cost a little higher, so 3,000, 4,000 euros more than the normal tuition fee. But if you get scholarship, nothing better than that. Double degree programs like HEC and St. Gallen are really good because HEC Paris is number 2, St. Gallen's is number 1 in the world. So if you're studying at 2 top schools in the world, Switzerland and France, you are going to have a lot of opportunities to work after you graduate. So yeah, some of the best programs you're talking about. So definitely, if you're eligible, go for it. Rishabh, what kind of questions can we expect from interviewers? Or any kind of case-based or just the normal questions? Depends on the university. Sometimes there are case-based questions. Depending on also the specialization that you talk about in your SOP. If you say I'm a marketing person, then there will be case-based questions. If you're a consulting person, there will be case-based questions. If you are just looking for, let's say, social development sector after your MIM, then there will be questions around your personal experience with the NGOs and social work, all of that. So it depends a lot on your profile. And I think that's what we do with mock interviews. We do a lot of mock interviews with our students. As you can see, I'll just change the slide. Yeah, that's the motto that we go with: practice, practice, practice. So we have to help you practice, practice, practice for the interviews. And by the time you do the interview, you have done so many interviews that you have to have that confidence, right? So that's what we do. Vani has a question. I come from humanities background. Is that a barrier while applying for MIM? No. So that's the good thing about MIM. And Vani, you should be applying for MIM because you bring diversity to class. I'll actually talk about what affects your chances of admission as well. But if you're coming from humanities background, I think you should be applying because a lot of people come from engineering background. So you are actually somebody who stands apart already. All we have to do is storyboarding for you. So we have to understand why MIM for you. And then once we have that story built, then everything is good. Shally has, can we study different subjects or course from different fields while studying MIM? Yeah. So just to give you an example of ESCP Business School, it has 6 campuses in Europe. You can go to Paris, Madrid, Poland, Italy, London, one more, which I don't remember. So you study very different subjects at all these campuses, right? One place is very good for family businesses, whereas one place is good for investment banking. So you can actually take different backgrounds, different courses while studying MIM. Shruti, could you please recommend some MIM universities in US and Australia? Definitely, Shruti. I think we have a database of that at Jamboree. We definitely help with that as well. You have to call us for that. Otherwise, I did name some of the colleges already, like Kellogg's, Cincinnati, Kent State, a lot of colleges. Is MIM upcoming in Canada too? Yes. Canada is an option, Vani. So we already help with MIM options in Canada. HEC Montreal is a good school, just for example. Purnima, being a third-year BTech student, has nothing in the name of resume, but a considerable CGPA. Where should I start? Purnima, this is where you should start. You're a third-year BTech student. Just get in contact with us. Ask if just ask that you want to talk to me about it. We will have to work on profile building because this is very less information that I have. So I can't really start your profile building on this call with such little information. Okay. So we are going to stop with the questions here. I will just see the Q&A and I'll go forward and we'll take the questions in the end. Okay, we'll just take all the questions from the Q&A. I have scored 640 in GMAT. Want to know what MIM colleges I can target with 1 year of experience in sales, FMCG. So this is anonymous. 640 is a good score, as I told you. Even in INSEAD, which is one of the top colleges, it takes people with 600 plus, 620. If you're looking at Germany, then great option again. What schools can you target is again the whole shortlisting of university. And as I told you, we don't do it just talking, right? We look at data when we're shortlisting universities for you. So I'll need more information around it, anonymous attendee. And your GMAT score is not bad, but I'll say if you're looking at scholarship at top universities, you might have to consider redoing your GMAT. Or if you're not considering, then definitely just apply to some of the colleges and see what results you're getting. And then the whole storyboarding part of it is missing. I don't know if you have done that. So just okay. Aldrina is asking, do they take someone who has a master's in economics degree? Yeah. So what happens is that you are considered a fresh graduate even if you've finished your master's right now. So if you don't have a lot of work experience in between, like you did your bachelor's, you have less than 2 years of work experience, you did your master's, now you're going for MIM, you're eligible, right? But there should not be a 10 years of gap or 5 years of work experience. then you're not eligible. Do they take someone from Masters in Economics honors? Right. I just answered. What's the average salary after doing MIM? Great question. So we are not talking a lot about salaries on this call, but since this is your interest, we might do another call again. Salaries around MIM, I'll just tell you what my students earn. Investment banking in London the earnings around 80,000 pounds. Converted to Indian rupees, it's around 80 lakhs INR. Full scholarships at Bocconi University. You don't spend anything. You just have your first job as an investment banker in London and you're earning 80,000 pounds. Obviously, after an MBA, you earn 120,000 pounds, but you spend 120,000 pounds in your tuition fee as well. So when you talk about return on investment, it's huge as compared to MBA. So that's the answer, Ashish. We can do more detail on this, but some other day. Are internship months counted? No. So internships are considered part-time work experience, so they're not counted as full-time. So they're not. Okay. Any recommendations from MIM schools in the US, particularly for real estate? Yes, already answered. Best MIM universities, they prefer management graduate like BBA. Not true. That's actually a myth, probably, Ayush. Because if you talk about MIM program at TU Munich, right? It's a great school. I think all of us will agree. They don't even take anybody from commerce background. They only take engineers or applied sciences. So BSc or BTech. So sometimes MIM programs, they are looking for engineers only because if you're a commerce student, you already know about management. So they don't want to teach you management again, right? So this is, I don't think nobody ever told me that. They prefer BBAs, they don't. Best MIM universities, they prefer, okay. Okay, it's Ashish, you are the anonymous attendee. Do they take someone from Masters in Economics? Right. Do students get placed in investment banking industry at extensive after MIM? You have to look at employment statistics. So if you're looking at NCR, if you're looking at London Business School, contact us, right? We can help you understand what is the placement statistic at that particular university. So let's say 20% of the class goes into investment banking, or 10% of it goes, 30% of it goes. So that is something that is very case on case basis. So I can't answer it right now. But if you call us and ask, definitely. I'm presently doing a part-time work. Will it be considered? No, Aldrina. So that will not be considered. Okay, only full-time work opportunities. Okay. We are at the 4th point. So we'll just finish with 4 and 5, and then we'll talk about take the other questions. Okay. So just let's do this fast. If you have a lot of questions, we should answer them definitely. Interview, I think practice is definitely important. What we do is we also connect with alumni. So if you're applying to London Business School, we have plenty of students who are already studying at London Business School. So we bring them, we also do panel discussions. So 3 people from London Business School, 3 people from INSEAD, 3 people from other IGC Paris. And then we do this kind of a discussion around how are the interview process for each of the universities. And then all the students who are enrolled with us, they get to be on the call and ask live questions. So these kinds of things that we do, which prepare you for mock interviews really well, because universities keep changing a lot of their interview processes. So sometimes LBS learns from NCR, and then NCR learns from HGC Paris, and they keep changing their strategies. So if you learn all of these strategies, it's a very wholesome process. You can do it on LinkedIn, but people don't give you their time on LinkedIn. They don't reply. So we have come up with this Alum Connect service, which we do it for all the students who are taking their MIM help with us. We also do information sessions and special CV review with the B School AdCom. AdCom is something who's going to look at your application. So we do some sessions with them so that you have your evaluation of the CV. CV is important for interviews because that's what they have when they're talking to you, right? Somebody asked me what kind of questions. The questions are going to be about you from the CV a lot of times. So you should have a very good CV, first of all, and it should be a small, concise, very balanced CV, which talks about everything that they are looking for in a person. Okay. So it should not be a never-ending CV. Actually, that's something that the AdCom at INSEAD, she told me that it's not a book or autobiography, it's a CV. It's a shop window, right? You don't want to put everything in your shop window. So it won't fit. You don't want to put everything. And I think when you work on CV with us, we do writer assignments and everything. So we work on your CVs very carefully for MIM at least. The last point is do not lie on your resume. We'll talk about it because they know it when you lie about it. So it's not a smart thing to lie on your resume. Be honest, keep some instances ready. We help you with keeping some stories ready when you're asked questions. Don't be repetitive, because if they're asking about, tell me one time when you were showing your leadership capabilities, you don't want to answer the same story for, tell me one time when you solved a conflict, tell me one time when you were helping somebody. So you have to have different stories ready for the interview, and you can't think just the same time you're giving the interview sometimes. So we help you keeping those instances ready with you. Okay, and be honest in your interviews. That's very important, because the moment you lie, they will know about it, and then that's rejection. So we don't want to get rejected. Now, this is one of the most important part of also studying abroad, planning your finances. I think a lot of people don't understand that it's not limited, right? There are so many options that we are not aware of. And when I was studying abroad, I wasn't aware of, very honestly. I wasn't aware of scholarships that I needed to apply. And luckily, I did an admission test and things, fell in place. But right now, I tell all my students to plan their finances well, right? Understand your expenses, first of all. Do you have a tuition fee? You do. Do you have living cost? You do. Now add that up, understand, okay, is it going to cost me 30,000 euros for the whole program? Okay, where does that money come from, right? So once you have the admit, you get a clear understanding of the tuition, living expense, and start planning your finances. And you explore the scholarship opportunities at the university and do intense research about both public and private universities. I can tell you, like, 70% of the students I talk to after they receive an admit, they do not research about public universities, public scholarships. We are talking about Europe. Europe has right to education, which means everybody is entitled to study, right? We don't have that in India, so we don't have those kinds of scholarships. But European countries, they have, and they give it to international students, but they're selective. So when you have a good profile, when you have a good score, what you have to do is you have to explore their public scholarship opportunities, and that's what we do for our students. If we see that you have a good profile, or if we see that you have a need that you can show, because there are merit-based scholarships, need-based scholarships, then we help the students apply to all these scholarship options. Education loan options at Indian banks are changing a lot. So there are so many changes after COVID. You can get it on lower interest without collateral. So there's so many things that you should be looking at. For our students, we do info sessions. So we bring people from banks across India, all the banks, and then we do these sessions where they explain their education loan options. So that's something that you should do. If you're not taking our help, you should definitely call these people and take more information. Take expert help to weigh in all the options. This is something that you should also do, because this is your finances. This is about 40,000, 30,000 euros you're going to spend. So you have to take some expert help to weigh in all the options that you have. It can be a CA in your family, it can be a parents, or it can be somebody from a consultancy. Like, you can take help from our experts, finance experts at Jamboree, anybody like that. But do take some expert help is what I recommend. Understand the employment statistics of universities. ROI is something that a lot of people talk about. I think we had some questions around it. So employment statistics is something you should check if you're confused about this university or that university. And last thing is that know that this is an investment. So when you're buying shares or stocks, you know that you're investing, right? Doesn't matter how much it costs. I think a lot of people here applied for the IPO of Zomato, and it was very critiqued, but people did it, right? Because we knew that it is an investment, you'll get returns out of it. So do not compromise on university rankings just because it's expensive. So you have to find out all the things that can help you get to that university, study in that university, and the ROI will be great, right? So that's something also you should look at. Now, lastly, I can show you some options like diversity scholarship, financial scholarship, achievement scholarship. Then there are things like prodigy finance. I think some people of you might know about it. Brain capital, StepX, Lendwise. There are different options nowadays to fund your studies. So there are that. Now, talking about how do we do this for our students at Jamboree, the MIM, specific MIM package that we have. This is something that we have built over the years, understanding the requirements of what an MBA requires, what an MIM student requires. So we call it MIM plus A to Z package, where we do everything from the point you come to us. We start with profile assessment, and from the time to the point where you fly to Europe or whatever country you're applying to, US, UK, Canada. So the whole thing is being considered, whether it be shortlisting of universities, preparing your documentation, financial planning, interview training, visa counseling, pre-departure orientation. That's actually fun. So when you're going to a country which is in Europe, there is a lot of cultural and language issues that you might face. So we do pre-departure orientation to help you understand what you're going to see in the first, let's say, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, so that you don't have that cultural shock. Now, we have also started a platinum services, and this doesn't cost extra. So the good thing about is that you don't pay anything extra to get these extra services. These are alumni connect. So we connect you with alumni of the universities where you get admitted. We also help you with accommodation because you also need it for the visa purposes. And I think a lot of students we saw they face problems with hotels and Airbnb during COVID. So we started helping them with full-time accommodations, which actually is very cost effective for you because you don't have to spend money in hotels. You just get a good accommodation from the moment you're flying to that country. Post-arrival guidance is important. What do you do in your first week after you arrive in a particular country? If you go to Italy, you have to go to a police station in the first 7 days. A lot of people don't know that. So we do help students understanding what is the guidance they have to take after they arrive at the airport. Health insurance, bank loan support is what we do during sessions. Permanent residence info sessions, we do with some of our legal help that we have. So you understand that how do you work around PR, right? A lot of students have this question around PR, post-study visa, all of that. So we obviously, our consultants, I'm aware of all of that, but we also bring legal people to help you with that. So they help you understand very small details as well. Post-study info sessions is also what we do. We bring people who have been working, for example, Shivani or Shivang. So they've been working after MIM. So we bring them together and they help you understand not only how to get into MIM, because that's what we do, but what do you do during your MIM to get a job in investment banking? Or what do you do in your last year of for specific specialization to get into that particular company that you're planning to get into? So that's what we made a part of this package. And lastly, focus of the month sessions are very focused sessions where we talk about specific things every month. For example, in the first month, it will be about shortlisting. Then we'll talk about storyboarding. We'll talk about visa processes, scholarships, different things. So this is what we are offering in our MIM package. Just if you want to have a look at why Jamboree is more reliable as compared to other consultants, I'll say that all the data that I showed to you, I'm 100% sure that a lot of consultancies which have existed for only 5 to 6 years don't have that. So we have been in the market for about 27 years. We have specialized to the needs of Indian applicants because I told you Indian applicants have a higher competitive rate when they're applying to business schools. So we are specialized with the GRE GMAT scores and scholarships for Indian applicants. We also help you with 5 university applications and we have one package. We don't increase the cost with every university that you increase, whereas with some other consultants, you have to pay 25,000 for each new university that you pay. And actually, sometimes that's all we charge, right? So it's extremely cost effective as compared to other consultants. You are very much in personal contact with people. And there can't be anything else than I just gave you my personal contact, WhatsApp contact as well. So we do not do email conversations only. We also help you on WhatsApp. If you want to have calls, we're always available for that. 25 plus years of experience with visa assistance. Visa is very important. I think, a lot of you know that during COVID, there were so many visa rejections. So the kind of people that we work with, we didn't really face a lot of rejections this year or in the last 25, 27 years. So we do have that expertise, which a lot of consultants lack. So even if you get an admit, visa is actually a milestone. So we know how to get that clear for you. We have 150,000 plus alumni. So that's why when we say alumni connect, it's not about bringing somebody from LinkedIn. We have somebody who has taken Jamboree's help and studying abroad or has been working abroad in that particular school, and we bring them to talk to you. You already have that one connect that you both are Jamboree students and alumni. We have 500 plus partner universities across the globe. So if you're looking at one of our partner programs, you're wanting to go to, let's say, Audencia Business School or a Schema Business School in France, these are top MIM schools as well. Then definitely partner universities are of great help. Now, if you still feel like you want your parents to walk into a center, because I think, sometimes you tell your parents and they're like, what company is it? So if you want to go to our offices, we have around 39 offices across 22 cities and 4 countries. So if you are mostly from India, you'll find one center in your city. Just Google that, Jamboree Center near me, and you'll find one office near you. So just walk into the center if you want to just have a conversation once and then enroll. So you can definitely do that. Jamboree package is valid for 1.5 years. So this is something that nobody else will do for you. We allow you to apply for 1.5 years with no hidden charges. So there are no extra charges in that. If you feel that, okay, I don't want to apply to round 3, right? Because, it was too late and I don't think I will get scholarships, you can defer your package that you have taken without any extra cost. So it is valid for 1.5 year. You don't lose money if you don't apply, or if you feel that something happened, emergency happens or something like that. The last thing also is very important. I talked about GRE, GMAT, test prep, IELTS, TOEFL as well. So we have integrated packages as well, where you can take MIM admission consulting plus GRE, or MIM admission consulting plus GMAT. So you can take those packages as well, right? So you don't have to only take one and then take another. This will actually be a lot cheaper from a student point of view. At the same time, the whole package will cost less than what other consultants charge for just their MIM consulting, with almost no years of experience. So I think these are the ways that we differentiate ourselves. Okay, I thought there will be some bonus tips that you might want to get, because what is the list without some extra bonus tips? Do not lie in your resume. If you don't know, resume is not equal to CV. So if you're giving your CV in case of resume is being asked, that's not right. CV is a European phenomenon of curriculum vitae, which is 10 pages long. Resume is 1 page long. So make sure that you're renaming your resume or CV. When applying to pre-experience programs like MIM, start with your education. Your CV should start with your education and then your work experience, because I told you that we do not have that profile yet. So 24 months of experience is not that much. Write your education, then you write your experience. Don't risk getting a disappointing recommendation. A lot of people do that. They take recommendations from people who are at high places and designations and companies. Do not. Make sure that you're getting more personal guidance rather than that. Get proper visa assistance with experienced consultants if required. I can't stress this enough that visa is one of the most important part in your application as well. So make sure that you're going with anybody who has this experience of helping you with visa. Okay, because visa, if it doesn't work, you don't fly to your university and your admit is of no use. So visa is very important. And that's what I'm telling you with personal experience as well. So visa is something that can get you very stressed if you don't have the right help. Last bonus tip is make sure you understand about the culture and language of the country you're moving in. So that's what we do with our pre-departure orientation. They are very fun. So make sure that whatever services you're taking, they're helping you with that, because you don't want to end up in a country where you know nothing about it. I'll take questions now. I'm sorry that we have so many questions and I wasn't able to take them, but I will take all the questions even if it is Saturday evening. So if you can wait, please, I'll answer it. Stuti is asking, I've started preparing for GMAT this week. What should be the ideal time according to you when I should give my GMAT attempt? 45 days is good if you're going to apply for next year, which is September intake. Also, guys, if you are planning to leave, if you don't have a question, I will say that this is my number, this is my email. If you have questions around MIM specifically, or if you have any other confusions, even like Masters of Finance, MIS, Masters in Information Management and Information System, or Engineering Management, do mail me about it. Whenever you mail me, put down your CV so that I have a good idea of your profile before I talk to you. And then if you're just texting me on WhatsApp, you cannot call on this number because I don't use it anymore. It's my WhatsApp contact. So make sure that you're mentioning your name and telling me that you have come from this webinar, because that's going to be very important for me answering the query. So I'll answer your query first if you come from the webinar. That's the idea. I'll just answer all the questions. If you have more questions, just put them down, because I'm going to finish the questions before we finish. What should be the, otherwise, you feel free to go. The session is officially ended. I hope you enjoyed the session and you enjoyed the 5-step approach to a top MIM. I think it was very detailed, but I wanted to give you everything that we do at Jamboree, right? And if you're not taking our help, if you're taking our help, I want you to end up in a top MIM university. So that was important. Anyway, feel free to have a conversation and talk to your center managers wherever you have a center, Jamboree center, because it's actually even 0.5% of what you're going to pay in your tuition fee. So the scholarship thing is also going to be very helpful. I personally look into scholarships. So if that's something that attracts you, then I think Jamboree is a good place for you. Stuti, if you're applying for September 2022, 45 days is what you should be targeting. And if that's something that is less for you, then we can actually look at round 3 for you or round 2 for you also for some universities. Okay. The 2 months, more than 2 months is not what I would suggest you to take. That's for sure. Akansha, which colleges are the best for healthcare and pharmaceutical graduates with less than 12 months of work experience? Akansha, there is no hierarchy here. Like, there is no classification for healthcare, for hospitality, for consulting, for banking. MIM is a course which actually takes in all the people from different backgrounds. So you don't have to worry about it. Just look at the Financial Times top MIM rankings, and that's going to be it. Whatever is good for everybody else is good for you. You have a diverse profile, so that's your USP. Prithvi, to what extent is language barrier to get employment in Europe? I have never seen people studying at top colleges finding a barrier. You can actually find, let's say if somebody who doesn't speak Hindi and comes and studies at IIT Bombay, and then that they will find a job because they have IIT Bombay degree, right? So you don't have language barriers. I studied in Europe. I know this question comes a lot, but this is not true. It's almost a myth. When you study at HEC Paris, they obviously want you to learn a little bit of French, and you should learn because having a European language in your resume can elevate it to a level that you can't even think about. And that's what I'm telling you from experience. I speak 2 European languages, and it just makes you stand out of the crowd for anything you apply to in your life, because you apply in multinational companies, right? And they have some clients always from Germany, from France, from Italy, from whatever part of the world you study in. So don't be as close to learning a language, but it don't affect your chances of getting employment. You can actually look at the employment statistics. International students actually get paid higher than the local students. So that's actually what we discovered in the last report. Hardik, do students get placed in the investment banking industry after MIM? Could you tell some? Shivani is one of them. Aldrina, do they take someone from Masters in Economics? Yes. Ask Fanny recommendation to become a better scholarship candidate. If you ask me without any profile background, I'll say focus on your standardized test. If you have a 330 plus, come to us and we'll definitely help you with good amount of scholarship. So that's what I can say right now. Kashish, best universities in the field of marketing. I don't think you should be asking this question about marketing. You should actually look at whatever course you have and then specialization of marketing. So top universities will remain top universities. You can study mathematics at Harvard or you can study astrophysics at Harvard. It's always going to be Harvard. So there won't be any such marketing clear. But I'll still say IE Business School has a lot of marketing graduates. We have a lot of students who go for marketing there, MSc in marketing. Then we have ESSEC Business School in France. So Spain and France are probably preferred for marketing. I am in my second year right now. BBA, when would be the ideal time to take GMAT? Right now, right? GMAT is valid for 5 years. So I will say that you should never wait. You should start your preparation. You're in second year, start your preparation. You will do 1 degree in your next 5 years. So it will be helpful. Okay. So you have good amount of time. So take 3-4 months of preparation. That's the difference. Otherwise, tomorrow you are also giving a mock test and everybody is also giving a mock test. So don't rest right now. Because if you be lazy right now, this is going to be second year, third year, fourth year, and you will never get out of that procrastination bubble. When does the round 2 start? So round 2 starts somewhere around November for some universities. We are in September right now. So round 2 will start around that time. And then it changes from university to university. But we have time until January to apply for round 2. So you have enough time to give your GMAT, GRE. If you're applying without GMAT, GRE, that's also fine. We have some very good options, just like I said, TU Munich in Germany. We have those options. But TU Munich is very specific about the profile that you have, as I said. So the storyboarding is going to be very important because you're going from engineering or applied science to management. So the SOP is going to be important. Anahita, what is the right time to contact Jamboree for my profile evaluation? Anahita, just you can go to our MIM website also. I'll just share it here so that you guys can, just go to the website of MIM at Jamboree, and you can actually contact some experts there. We have a whole profile evaluation cell, so you won't have any problems with that. It's just that you have to fill in your information there so that we have your query there, because they might not transfer from this call to there. So I put it in the chat, so just take it from here. Going back to the questions, I see a lot of people asking a lot of questions, which is good. Okay, I think I have started preparing for GMAT this week. Okay, Stuti got the answer. Diksha, in that case, okay, no. Okay, I did miss some question. Arshia has a question. I'll be graduating in 22. I plan on getting at least 1.5 years of experience. I'll taking my GMAT test in 21. Good. When should I be applying? Arsha, you should be applying for GMAT right now. You should be applying for your MIM next year if you're planning 1.5 years of experience. So you should be applying in 2022 with Jamboree, and 23 you fly to Europe or whatever country. Ashish, I have no full-time experience, but I have done 2 marketing internships. Is it good for HEC Paris? Ashish, HEC Paris is very holistic in its admission process. So we have to look at so many more things. I will have to look at your profile top to bottom to understand if it's a good profile for HEC Paris. Internships are great, internships, but then like, where did you do them? And do you have good rapport with your manager? Will they give you recommendations? So there's so many questions that need to be answered. Vani, planning for 22. When should I apply at the latest? You should apply actually at the latest, Vani. So just tomorrow morning, give us a call and we'll take care of it. Yash, is 3-year undergrad degree acceptable? Yes. So with MIM, you don't have problems with that. Only with Canada, I think they have this 4 years 4 years restriction. But with Europe actually has 3-year bachelor degrees. So they do accept 3-year bachelor degrees. It's the Indian concept of 4-year bachelor degree, which we got from UK because of the colonial, all that colonial culture that we have. Otherwise, it's a 3-year degree. Hitanshi has a question. Can you talk about jobs in India after doing MIM from London? Is it better to come after gaining work experience or? Hitanshi, it depends on your conditions that you have. If you want to come back to India directly after London Business School, it's a university that everybody in the world is aware of. So you won't have any problem with multinational companies. Like if you apply for McKinsey in India, I actually did that after my bachelor's abroad, right? I applied at BCG in Italy, and then they transferred me to the Indian offices. So that works for MNCs, multinational corporations. But if you're applying to Indian companies, they might need a little bit awareness around MIM or LBS for that sense. I will recommend that work for 2-3 years in London. You earn like 5 times of what you will earn in India, and then come back to India and tell them that, okay, this is what I earned there and this is what I expect out of it. So the negotiation is very smooth after you have a salary on your payslip. I am a final year student of engineering and planning to take GMAT and apply next September. What do I build a good profile for London Business School? Soumya, profile building is what you're talking about. I'll tell you what you should not do is online courses. They're too much right now. Don't take certifications that won't work. What you should be doing is do some good internships. Don't do virtual internships. When I say virtual internship is where you don't have a manager. So do online internships, work from home, but you should have a manager with you because recommendation is going to be extremely important. Apply to really good companies for internship. Maintain a very high CGPA. Maintain a very good standardized test score. So these are some tips. Alrina, do we take someone? Yeah, okay. Question again and again, same question. Soumya, I gave my GMAT mock test, scored 560. How can I specifically get my verbal improved? So I took the classes from the verbal faculty of Jamboree. So you might consider that. They're pretty good with that. Akansham asks which colleges are the best for healthcare. Okay, we answered that. Shelly asked how many years we get work permit in UK after completing MIM. MIM is considered a full degree. It's a recognized degree as compared to any other master's degree. So similar that you get after all the other courses. I think right now they have 2 years of stay back option. So I think it remains the same. Shruti says I've started preparing for GMAT this week. Okay. This is answered. Diksha and K. In that case, do you think I have a disadvantage while applying for MIM if I have a degree in BBA? Diksha, no, because just look at India, right? Let's just talk logic. Like I'll say 70% of people do engineering, 30% do commerce, arts, whatever else. You are still among the cream, right? You're still among, let's say, the diversity part of the applications. So you actually have an advantage. I'll also say that you bring more diversity as a female as well. So you have good diversity question. You should not worry about it. Vipul, what is the fee of this package? The fee of the package is different for different cities. So do consider talking to your center managers. Just Google Jamboree Center near me. If it's Ahmedabad, you can talk for somebody from Ahmedabad. You can talk to Delhi office. So it depends because of the proximity of whatever office is near to you, the package will be told to you. It ranges from the whole package. I'm telling you, the application package ranges from 30,000 to 70,000. So 35,000 or 40,000 to 70,000. And this is actually what other consultants charge for one university. So that's why I'm telling you that it's a good steal if you're interested in MIM this year. GRE plus IELTS pack from Jamboree. Can I get some negotiation in MIM package? Pranav, you can. I think just contact us. If you're already a student, definitely there are special compensations for you, obviously. Shruti, and I think that compensation is also for people who are taking GRE plus admission consulting. So, or GMAT plus admission consulting, IELTS plus admission consulting. So you have those compensations. Shruti, I'm currently studying in third year. When should I take my GMAT exam? We answered. Shelly, when will the round to start? Okay, this is answered. Is it true that January intake has less students and lower chance to get admitted than September intake? Shruti, I don't think a lot of MIM programs have January intake. So because it's already a 12 to 24 months program, right? And it's a very special class of students. So I think they are doing it only once a year, which is September intake. February intake might be for Canada or US, some of those master's programs, like masters in finance, masters in marketing, all of them. So you must call us and talk about that. Specifically what you're looking for. I'm not aware of that. Nikita, I'm in second year right now. When would be the ideal time? Okay, we've answered that. Is round 2 the most competitive round? Not really. I'll say round 1 is very competitive because students are pretty good with deadlines. Most of the students that work with us, and there are a lot. So if there are people applying from India, we have a huge percentage of those people who are applying from India at Jamboree. So we are good with deadlines. They are good with deadlines. So round 1 is one of the most competitive. Round 2 is actually a little bit less competitive. And then round 3 and round 4, they are not like I'll say that competition is not the problem, but if you're looking at scholarship, that's probably what you have to consider. Round 2, round 3 is probably the deadline for you. Then. Any recommendations to become a better scholarship candidate is answered. Is a contractor position considered full-time work ex? Akansha, I have to see your pay slips or I have to see your work agreement, all of that. It has to be written somewhere, right? If it's written there, we don't change it. If it says full-time, if it says 8 hours in a day for extended period of 15 months, 10 months, then it's considered a full-time position. If you're talking about contractual job, it will be considered full-time. Yeah. Rishabh, I'm planning to give my GMAT and IELTS in December. Will I be able to apply in round 1 or round 2 for German universities? German universities actually have like 1 or 2 rounds only. I think also TU Munich last year didn't do any rounds. So they were like apply and they gave admissions on rolling basis. So the applications closed in March or May. And like last year was different because of COVID. So they were extended. But I'll say March we have to apply. Okay, Rishabh. So December is good time for GMAT and IELTS. And then we can apply for German universities by as soon as you get the scores, but you should actually work on your essays simultaneously. So when you work with Jamboree, we assign you writers because what happens is you're working or you're preparing for GMAT or something. So you're busy, right? So what we do is we assign you writers right away. So you work with them and they work on your application together with. So you don't have to focus a lot on that. Okay, Pranav, I already answered your question. Can we get IELTS after applying to B school? Yes, Ashish, this is new actually. Because of COVID, what they were doing is you can apply and then you can give IELTS. So if you have medium of instruction certificate, you can do that, and we will provide you the format to get it from your administration, university administration. So we do that. I'm planning to give GMAT around November and December. Would it be all right, or should I give in November start? Shaili, you have asked a lot of questions, so I see that you are very interested. I would like to have a conversation with you because it's important to understand your profile before I give you any advices any further, right? It won't be useful to you if I keep giving you advices without knowing a lot about it. Aditya, can I get a job in Germany if I'm doing my masters from France or Spain? Um, okay, a lot of my friends they studied in Italy with me, and some of them went for engineering management or MIM degrees, Bocconi, or the university I studied in, Politecnico di Milano, Politecnico di Torino, and they started working in Tesla in Germany because of the proximity of the Gigafactory in Berlin. So you can work in Germany even if you study in France, Spain, Italy, Switzerland. Europe allows you with the visa thing. So 26 countries access you get. You can work in any of them without any extra paperwork. So the whole problem with getting a job in US without education in US is the paperwork, the visa. So with Europe, you don't have visa problems because you already have the student visa for 26 countries. Or once you graduate, you have that job search visa. So it allows you. Shruti, can I stay back and have my business after MIM course? If you take an entrepreneurship specialization, definitely you can get into a startup like NCR and LBS or all top schools. They have these incubators, so you can pitch your startup. You can form a team of 3-4 people, and you can actually start getting with fundings and stuff. So you will receive mentorship around that in the university. Arsha is saying, please give tips on finding internships as I'm struggling to find internships in COVID. Arsha, we have to look at your profile to help you with that. I think it depends what kind of internships you're looking at. You can be a software engineer, you can be a marketing person. So what internship you're looking at? Great. Thanks, Rishabh. Thanks, Shelly. Thanks, Aditya. Thanks to you guys for asking such questions. We'll just take some more questions from the Q&A before we finish. Yes, Ashish, thank you to you as well. I am presently doing a part-time work. Will it be considered? No. I am in 4th year of BTech CS, planning to give GMAT this year. I already got an offer letter from KPMG. How many years of work experience do I have to get, and what program do I get into? Less than 24 months, you get into MIM. More than 24 months, let's say 4 to 5 years. If you're looking at Harvard, let's say, average work experience is 4.8 years for the class profile. So that's the average, 4 to 5 years for MBA. But the thing with MBA is that your salary doesn't increase until you do an MBA. With MIM, you do it right after your college and your salary is like skyrocketed. So that's the difference. MBA, you have to wait 4 or 5 years and then do it. Here, you don't have to wait. And congratulations on getting the job offer. You can actually think about working for 1 year because KPMG, great, but again, job profile is what matters a lot. What about MIM in Germany? Aditya, we have TU Munich, we have some other options as well. Gizma Business School, we have partner universities in Germany as well. A lot of business schools, so they have MIM options or masters in management, masters in finance, masters in innovation, entrepreneurship, all of that. Bhumika, charges for such a program, I'll say that visit the nearest Jamboree center, or with COVID, you don't have to visit. I say visit because I think that's easier to build trust, but just call us on our online numbers and we'll tell you what charges are for your particular city. So just Google Jamboree center near me or Jamboree near me, and you'll find the calling contact of the center near you. Do we have to pay extra for this MIM package? Okay, what did you pay, Rishabh? So I have to understand then extra is what. Okay. Ashish is asking, can I apply with zero experience and can I get into top business schools? I just showed you the class profile of INSEAD. INSEAD is a business school where you don't get into MBA very easily. It's almost like Harvard of Europe. Okay. And they have average experience of 0.8 years, which means that half of their class should be fresh graduates. So just think about people getting into Harvard with no work experience. Then you can get into NCR, London Business School. These are all top business schools, HEC, Paris. People go for MBA also, but since they have MIM and this call is about MIM, you can get into MIM with zero work experience. So not a problem. I think that's the end of the answers, guys, questions and also answers. Yeah. And okay, I just hope that I have seen all of your questions. Okay, great. So thank you so much. And thank you so much that, 17 people are still here. So I just hope that I answered all of your questions. If we haven't, and if you want to talk to me, I think I have my number in the chat. I will just put it again so that if you need specific consultation, we can do that over call. You just have to WhatsApp me and tell me that you were in this webinar, which was conducted on September 18 today, and then we can take this forward. Or you can call a Jamboree center near you, so they will help you with all the package details and everything. Cost is going to be very less. So as compared to the competitors, we're almost charging nothing because we understand the kind of experience that we have. And we've helped like a lot of people. So we don't focus on increasing the prices for particular packages. So that's all, guys, for today. And yeah, see you over call or WhatsApp, or maybe just contact the center near you, and I'll get the email from the center itself that you have contacted us from this webinar. Until then, good night, and we'll be doing some sessions around MIM. So there on the email we have sent you a WhatsApp group link. If you want to join in, please join in so that we can keep you updated around all the webinars that we do. I'll also post it in the chat so that we just don't miss it. Okay, so if you enjoyed this session, you might also consider all the other sessions that we do around MIM, and we do create some resources also for you guys. So any resources that you think around scholarship, the list of scholarship, GRE waivers, GMAT waivers, GRE tips, GMAT tips, all of that. So I'll just keep the chat on for 2-3 minutes so that you can take the link from there, WhatsApp link, and then we'll finish this call. Thanks for making it as interacting as it was. And I hope to, get in contact with some of you at least, because I see a lot of students very interested about this. And I think MIM is interesting because it's new, it's early career program. It gives you the growth in your career, which you don't have to wait for. So definitely interesting. Okay. If you have taken the link from the chat, you can also have it in your email. So just check your emails, and that's all. So goodbye, guys, and take care. Bye-bye.